something a bit different, which is a commentary on the match between Julu and Snoozle. It's the final match left in Division F11. I'm going to share my screen. They're just beginning now. Okay, and let's share it. Okay, Dominion. And there we go. Okay, and so first player is Julu. And what have we got here? We have actions with Golem. We have some amount of trashing with Jack. I can only see that the cards in the top half here. We've got attacking with Coven. Cobbler lets you gain a card, so card up to 4. We have the Turtle lets you delay your actions. Ironmonger can give you extra actions. Herald calls an action again. So we're not too badly off for actions. We don't exactly have a village, but several things can give us a village effect. Trashing. So Jack will only let you trash non-treasure cards. And that is all the trashing I see immediately. Okay, and so what have they been doing? They actually, both players did choose to gain a Jack first of all, so and I agree with that too. That then will let you trash your estates. Okay, I'm just going to put this on, and then we've got they're getting Ironmongers, which are good cards, and Market Square, Snoozle, and Julie got a silver first. Yeah, fine. All righty. So we've got Julie's got a cobbler. All right, let's see what we would do in this board. I think it's not necessary to go for golems because you do have the actions from other places. And what I've found with golems is that it's sometimes quite hard to actually right at the start of the game to build up the 4 plus a potion cost. So we might see them going for other cards first, such as the Ironmonger, which they're both getting, which is a nice card. So, okay, so how is the league situation at the moment? So this Division F11 has been really, really close. So loads of the matches very close. And I'm in with a shot of promotion. It does depend on the result of this match. So I'd basically need Snoozle not to lose 5-1 or worse. Because if it's worse than that, then Julu gets promotion, otherwise me. And either of these two players could get relegated as well. So it's that close that pretty much anything can happen. Okay, and so how's this going? So there's the battlefield. So battlefield, when they buy a victory card, they can get those battlefield points. So I wouldn't expect them to rush into that particularly. It's going to be about building your deck up at first. And yeah, what have we managed to trash so far? 3 estates have gone. Of course, no coppers. So you're gonna want to be able to draw through your deck. So what can actually draw through your deck? The only thing that really gets you extra, you can replace the cards you get. Moat gives you a +2 cards. And of course, Golem lets you get 2 actions and picks them out from your deck. So actually, I could imagine them getting Golem in due course. And I would also go for covens, like Julie's got a coven now, just to try and junk up the opponent's deck a bit more eventually. And get them exiling curses. Okay, Snoozle's managed to get the first province and gets a couple of points from battlefield here. All right, and Julie's working on getting the curses exiled. And so, yeah, Snoozle will have 1 curse in exile there, and Julie nothing yet. Okay, and a cover now. I actually let's see who has got the covens. So we've got one here for Julu. We saw and one there for Julu, and one there for Julu. So Julu actually has all the covens, 3 covens so far. So he's definitely playing a strategy to curse Snoozle as quickly as possible. Covens aren't bad. They get you +2 and you get an action. So yeah, so Snoozle's now got 2 curses in exile, but you might see that building up pretty quickly given the number of covens that Julu has. So I guess Snoozle's going to want the game to be as quick as possible. So try and get these victory points really quickly, so that the curses don't get all used up and discarded into their hand. And Julu will want the game to keep going for a little while. So Julu's also got a province though, and I suppose that's yeah, I think that's just kind of saying if Snoozle does try and end the game, then there won't be enough points, because you'll see that now Snoozle's got. Wait a minute, Snoozle must have how many curses now? 4. So 2 provinces of 4 curses, and it's just slightly ahead on the score. Right, they're not going for heralds. Interestingly, I kind of would have maybe thought they would at some point. And they're also not going for the golems. So they must be finding they're just getting through their deck perfectly okay. At least getting enough points. Now the market square does let you gain golds if you trash something. As we said, there's not a lot of trashing there in this deck. It's only really Jack that can trash. How are they doing for buys? Candlestick does give you a buy. Nobody's bought any of those, but Market Square gives you a buy, and they have bought Market Square, so that's where you get your buy from. So popular cards. Well, the Ironmonger is very popular. And you can see why, because it always gives you a card and an action, plus you might get another action or another card or another point. So Snoozle is slightly ahead on the victory points. 2 more curses. Oh yeah, okay. With the 2 more curses, it's equal now, and Julu has just managed to get another province. So I would say because of these curses, it is actually looking pretty good for Julu at this stage. In that, in just a few moves, I think those curses will all be in Snoozle's hand. So there must be 7 in exile. Yeah. So it is a little bit of a risky strategy Snoozle's taken on here, not getting any covens, because yeah, so it's just relying on getting the points very, very quickly. Okay, but there's only 1 province left, so it is, yeah, okay, so this gamble might have paid off because it doesn't look like Julu's got a province in hand. So if Snoozle can actually get a province here, that will be enough. And this is a hand up here, isn't it? So that does look like enough, if I'm understanding it all right. I haven't really spectated too much before. Oh, there's a lot of Ironmongers coming anyway. So yeah, this looks like a lot. Yeah, okay, well, there you go. That's the first game, 1-0 to Snoozle, which I completely misevaluated there in the middle, because I was thinking all those curses would work. But actually, Snoozle managed to be quick enough that it didn't matter. Okay, I'm going to wait while they switch the player order. I'm just going to see if this is really live streaming on. Oh yeah, there we go. It is live streaming on the. YouTube site as well as the Twitch site. Hi, Gort. So Gort is, you might not know Gort as Tetron. I got a message. Snoozle has come good for you already. Yes. I'm not taking sides too much, but I am pleased that Snoozle has won one nonetheless, because that helps my chances of getting promoted in the division. So it's 1-0 to Snoozle. So I'm not actually 100% sure if that's enough, or whether I need a tie in this, another tied game. Okay, so let me have a look at this board. So, oh, this has got all sorts of lovely cards on it this time. So, particularly ones I've looked at recently, like Fortress, I really like, which is the one where if you trash it, you put it in your hand. And now we have cards like the Priest, so trashing your card gets you +2. So what you can do, for example, is trash the Fortress, get you +2, but you still keep your Fortress. Also Remake's where you trash 2 cards, and you could trash like an estate. And then if you don't have another card you want to trash, you can just trash the Fortress again. And actually doesn't give you a card. Yeah, and then you get a card one more. So say you had 2 Fortresses in your hand, you could end up with 2 Covenants or something, say you wanted that. So have they been doing this? What have they got so far? Already a few moves in. They both went for this remake strategy. And so we've got silvers and remakes, and they're getting Fortress. And so trashing junk, but also, and Bounty Hunter to exile the cards as well. So you should actually be able to get some quite slick decks out of this. I think it'll be a quick game. The game might be over by the time I've actually looked at what the people are actually playing. Yeah, they're gaining the Fortresses and Bounty Hunters. Yeah. So 3 Fortresses have gone already. And what's in the trash? Oh, some coppers and even silvers, an estate. So I guess you can convert silvers into some of these nice 4s, the Bounty Hunter and the Remake. Okay, so this game was started by Snoozle. They're still both buying the Fortresses, which I think is a good strategy. Now you note that there's also Coven, which we saw in the last game. We saw Julu buying 3 of the Covens and getting Snoozle to exile the curses. Now, if my prediction's right that this is a very quick game, then maybe Covens wouldn't work so well in this game, because although you would get your opponent to exile curses, they might not be quick enough to get them actually into their hand. Nobody is going for Alchemist. I always like the Alchemist. Again, you do have to buy a potion first, so it might just be we don't have time for it because there's so, Fortress and Remake is so good. You're getting a lot of good stuff already. You have you can have Embassy for draw, because actually you get 5 cards, discard 3, so that'll get you through your deck quickly. It doesn't look like anyone's been going for that. They're going for Hagglers. Hagglers is good. I mean, I'd say for buy, in that you're getting extra cards. So you might say you're getting a province. You could also get a cheaper card. Yeah, I'll just go. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I would still be inclined to go for either an Embassy or a Alchemist to get through the deck. Arena is all about you get extra points if you discard an action without playing it. Okay, what Snoozle's got 4 is buying a Priest. Yeah, and again, Priest is all about, so you can trash your Fortress and get to, or trash other cards. Yeah, so okay, and how are they doing for points? Snoozle has more points, and we'll have got those from Arena. Okay, now they have started buying the Covens. Yes, and someone's bought an Embassy. Yeah, I would be inclined to get that stuff. Embassy, yeah, Julie's got an Embassy. yeah, to get through the deck, because you do have plenty of actions with your fortress. And so what have we probably trashed nearly everything now. 3 estates gone and 4 of the coppers. There's still a bit more trashing to do. I guess you might have the dilemma of trashing your actual cards and trashing your fortress. But I would think this embassy should work pretty well. And how much money have they got in their decks? She's got up to 6, because you might even just consider getting a gold and going for victory points after that. So Snoozle's got the first province. To be honest, I haven't noticed who was getting the covens, whether it's Julu again, or this time Snoozle. Coven gains a coven with Snoozle. Maybe it's a mixture. I'm just looking in the log. Gains the coven Snoozle. So last time Julu went heavily into covens, and this time Snoozle is. Yeah. Snoozle got 2 times with the fortress. Okay. And another province for Snoozle. So what Snoozle's really trying to sort of rush the game and get all the victory points in before Julu has a time to build up the deck, because Julu's playing more to draw all the cards, and Snoozle's playing to quickly get the victory points. And so yeah, so that could go either way. Yeah, so Julu's now got a couple of embassies. So he's managing to get through the deck pretty well. Not the whole way. You might even want another embassy for that. There isn't exactly a buy, so it is Hagley you're relying on. But actually that should be fine, I would think. Because if you can, so can you catch up if you can reliably get a province? Yeah, so what Julie's been doing is getting a province, and then for the cheaper buy, getting a fortress, which is always a nice card. Okay. Curses is actually still only 2 have gone. Both Julu has both the curses. At the moment, it's looking like we maybe won't even get to the stage where these curses get discarded from exile. It'll be a question of getting these victory points first, because Snoozle could, for example, get a province this go. Yeah, I think he'll probably do that. Yeah. And gained a gold with it as well through Hagler. Six here. So I guess Julu's deck is pretty good now. But there is a lot of points to catch up. Because 16 up to 33 is 17 points, which is almost the 3 provinces. So I would put Snoozle as a favourite here. And I don't know whether Snoozle has exiled any estates yet. No, any duchies, sorry. So actually that bounty hunter will get +3 when the duchy is exiled. So that's a province in hand as well. So I think it is looking pretty good for Snoozle this game. Because even if Julu can draw the deck, I don't see that there's a plus buy. So Julu could not, for example, double province. Yeah, and this is it. That's the province. So now, yeah, I think it's going to be hard for Julu. Snoozle doesn't have an amazing hand for this particular one. but it's still going to be hard to catch up. 14 points. You need Snoozle to dud a couple of times at least. Is it exactly one more? Exactly one more. So you can't just trash your province and get a province. But Snoozle's trash to get a fortress, and I suppose you can always trash the fortresses to duchies eventually and get them. Okay, that looks like a province in Snoozle's hand now. Because you can use the priest to trash the fortress, and then you're there. So Julu can probably get a province and a duchy this time, but that's only 9, so it's not going to be enough. Remake fortress is possible duchy. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking as well. Gort. Yeah. Oh, I see. You are what you're thinking is Julia might manage to remake to get 2 duchies, 3 duchies in a province you could get in one go. Yeah, but it's not enough. 2-0 then to Snoozle. So that's, I guess, I was thinking of myself first here, then that's good for me. Because I think Snoozle can't quite catch me up in the league, whereas Julu could have. But what does it mean for the players? Now, I've got a little note within the division F11. Let me see the who needs what in order to stay up in the division F. So, okay, Snoozle Rota summary. Snoozle match is scheduled for Tuesday. If Julu takes 5.5 wins or more, he'll be promoted to E. So that's not happening. If Julu wins between 3.5 and 5, he will stay in F and Snoozle demote. If Julu wins 2 games or less, he will demote, and Snoozle stays in F. So the so Julu needs to get 2.5 in order to stay in the division, and it's one of Julu or Snoozle that stays in, and one gets relegated. Okay. So how is this game going? Right, what have we got here? Oh, we've got a young witch and an old witch. There's been a lot of witching today, hasn't there? We had the Coven in the last 2 games, and now we've got young witch and old witch. And we've also got an enchantress. So we should see curses flying around. Someone already has an old witch. Old witch is nice, I think, for draw, as well as just to curse people. You can get actions via the hostelry. The hostelry, you can overpay for them, get horses. So you might see some. Nobody's got it yet. How else do we get actions? You can also use acting troop to get villagers, which then you can use when you like. I would probably want to get a hostelry or 2 though for this. What we do have though that people are using is the page. This eventually, if I just show you page, it eventually gets you up to champion. And once you're there, then you basically have as many actions as you like. Also, you can't get attacked, but it does take a little bit of a slog to get there. So you work through page, treasure hunter, warrior, hero, and champion. So I expect people will need actions along the way. Certainly, if you're going to be drawing substantially with old witch, which it looks like they are. Enchantress also helps with draw, so that's when you get your cards. You get them the next turn. Okay, champions for actions. Gort, yes. I only see your comments after I already said it, but I do agree. How did you take that old witch, said Snoozle. Trashing squires. Ah ha ha ha. Clever Julu. So what Snoozle was asking was, how did Julu get the old witch? And what he did, so if you trash this card here, squire, that costs 2, when you trash this, gain an attack card. So Julu trashed the squire in order to get the old witch, which is also an attack. So you could also choose, I think a raid is also an attack, and young witch is an attack. So this squire is quite good because there's plenty of attacks here. I think even enchantress is an attack as well. Yeah, yeah, plenty of attacks here. And now I haven't been looking at what you actually even use in order to trash things. Was it trade? Trade, trash 2 cards from your hand. Could have been. I was not watching actually. I think it must have been trade that Julu used to trash the squire in order to get the old witch. Yeah. It's quite hard to keep up actually, isn't it, when one is commentating? Yes, Julu buys trade. Yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't the one that got the there's the old witch. No. Plays an old witch. Is it one of these? Could be a warrior as well. No, it was a trade. There we are. I found it now. So buys a trade, trashes a copper and a squire, and gains an old witch. Very good. Okay, so how's it actually all going? I can see Snoozle does have a curse there in hand, presumably from that old witch. Somebody has... Snoozle's got a hostelry. And also an old witch, and is now cursing Julu. Trashing... Yeah, a fair bit of trashing actually, which I guess is through trade. Yeah, and this Wayfarer is an interesting one because if you gain the curse, right, then it's costing 0. Let me click on that. So you can gain it's +3 cards, and it has the same cost as the last turn gain. So actually, that's an alternative to Old Witch for getting through your deck. Okay. And they've both had to do an undo, and they've done the same one. I didn't catch what it actually was. It must be something that's quite easy to misinterpret what you meant to do. And I see nobody. It's the leprechaun is the bane to the young witch. I'm never brave enough to get these leprechauns. I think someone did in their match against me, and I have a feeling it might have been Julu. Yeah. Anyway, Julu now gets a Wayfarer also to help. And Julu has a hero, which is almost all the way to getting the champion. So next time we'll have a champion. And then when you've got the champion, then it gets much easier to draw through the deck because you don't need to worry about having the actions. You just need to have the cards that can draw. So like the Old Witch and the Wayfarer, for example. So yeah, that was interesting. Julu played a hero because you can just gain any treasure, and chose a silver rather than a gold. That's interesting. What am I missing here? Why would you pick a silver rather than a gold? I can't actually think of why you would do that. I don't know. There's not a card that... I know there are some of these cards where if you have a lot of silvers, you can get more victory points, but I don't think that's the situation here. Not sure about that. We both need a squire for buys. Yeah, that's a good point. So the only squire, because Julia had the squire, and that was and used it to trash and get the old witch. But actually, yeah, the squire is also interesting in order to get a buy. Good points. Yeah. Yeah, especially once Julu gets up to... Oh, and Snoozle's already got the champion. Yeah, once you've got the champion, you're going to need... you could be scoring quite a lot each turn. Okay, so Snoozle is having a think. So Snoozle might be wondering whether or not to play Acting Troupe. And I suppose it just doesn't really matter. You might as well play it so you don't have it clogging up your hand. But the villagers don't do too much as far as I can see, just because you already got your champion. So yeah, there's pretty much as many actions as you like. All right, so Snoozle's got an old witch in hand. Yeah, an enchantress for draw next time. So what would you be tempted to buy? Maybe maybe more old witches. A raider, yeah. Yeah, a raider gets you the 3 coins and gets your opponent to discard, so that's pretty good. Okay. That witch was enchanted, so just gets a card and an action this time. But Julu does have the Wayfarer. Now, I suppose you'd have to worry, because the champion in the deck sometimes, so I think Julu might be not playing it to avoid missing it, because it must be in those 9 cards there. And that is going to be an important card. Snoozle's again going into the victory points early and putting the pressure on the opponent. Here comes the champion. Okay. Yeah, very close. 18-16 now. Curses are going to run out. I think the provinces will go. It's not going to be a 3 pile. It looks like it's going to be just the provinces going. And again, another quick game. I mean, actually, it's only 8:30. They've been going half an hour, and we're pretty near the end of game 3. So it is quite quick. Which I guess is partly because they've had action cards and been able to at least do some trashing, this time with the trade. Just 1 province left now. Okay, so Julu could afford a province let go, but wouldn't get one because Snoozle's more points ahead. But it looks like there's a province in hand here. So this is an amazing start for Snoozle. We're up to 3-0. Okay. So. Yeah. So what do people need? We needed Snoozle needs 4 points, I think, to be safe, and Julu 2.5. So Snoozle needs 1 more to be safe. Right here, this deck has debt. You can see with these hexagons, debt on the card, and you can buy tax to put more on there. Sorry, this is called tax, isn't it? Tax on each of them. We've got a chapel. So, I mean, Remake's a good trasher, but I would imagine they both get a chapel. And trash down using that. Hamlets are very nice too as well, because you choose, you can kind of get buys or actions for it. And actually, there's quite a few nice cards. Haunted Woods is good for draw, because the next time you get 3 cards. I like that card. And so, is the captain any good in this deck? Captain lets you play cards for 4 or less. It does look good to me in this deck because Fishing village can be useful. Smugglers is useful and fun, and cargo ship can be good, and hamlet and native village can be good. So, so I would go for captains if I had the chance. We've also got, actually, it's worth pointing out, where the pig, and so that gets you a card and an action. And the good thing about that is if you do find you're short of actions, so say you went and just bought 6 haunted woods and nothing else, they're not completely useless in your hand, because you can play the last one to be what it's meant to be, but play the others and get a card and an action, so they're not just stuck in your hand. Somebody has taxed the smugglers, so I didn't notice who had bought the smugglers. Okay, Snoozle's taxed the smugglers. So Snoozle has the smugglers and is taxed. They've both got chapels, so we should see the trashing. So again, actually, this is expected to be another quick game, because you can trash right down. So you shouldn't get all stodgy anyway. Someone's bought a remake as well to go alongside their chapel. Well, the remake, you can, if you're trashing bigger things. They both bought a remake. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I don't think I would buy a remake. I think I'd just rely on my chapel because they're so good. And the way of the pig means you shouldn't be too worried by clashes. Maybe that's what they're thinking, though, if they're getting the chapel and the remake, that they can still pig whichever one it is, they're not using that particular term. Yeah, okay, so how's it going? Julie must have trashed a couple of estates. Yeah. Okay. And so Snoozle has smugglers and remake. I'd probably remake my estates. Yeah. Yeah. And fishing village lets you play 2 actions. So maybe remake the estates into what? If you remake it into smugglers, I think you don't have to pay the tax. So that might be a thing to do. Thanks. Okay. And Snoozle gained a cargo ship. Okay. Yes, Julie's done a whole load more trashing, so 3 more coppers in the state. This trash is getting very full. 7 coppers and 5 estates done already between the 2 of them. And some more trashing going on. These decks will be very, very slim. I'm buying for 4. What do you buy for 4? A hamlet. Yeah, no, I mean, it's worth getting a hamlet at some point, because you will want the buys and you may want the actions too. Yeah, and then I would try and get into, I think that both the Haunted Woods and the Captain, at the moment, there's nothing particular to rob from the grave. Oh, someone's trashed their chapel. Yeah, that might be why you get the remake, isn't it? Trash the chapel when you get fed up with it. Or you can always just pick the chapel if you want to. Yeah, maybe see even some more trashing. Trash it, copper in the estate. Yeah. Okay, maybe another hamlet. Silver. Yeah, I need some coins. Okay. So how many points are they managing to get each turn? 6. So this will be a 5 for Julie. I would go Haunted Woods. I know what I would do here. Let's see what Julie does. Definitely Haunted Woods, no question. Hamlet. Okay, so that's yeah. Well, you have to get it at some point, you see, to get this buy, and I suppose Julu did not particularly want to get a hamlet with a 5, but the longer you leave it, sometimes the worse it gets, and you end up spending like 8 on a hamlet. So I guess that was Yeah, so now there's the option of having a buy. Right, I bet Snoozle's going to go for provinces because that's the theme of the evening, is get these victory cards early and just go straight for the win. I don't know, I'm not saying that's particularly a good move. I mean, you could even get yeah, Snoozle's doing that again. You could even get the captain there or the Haunted Woods. That wouldn't be crazy either. Okay, so Julu's got a pretty good hand there. Might use this Hamlet for a buy. Could discard the remake, for example. Yeah, 2 buys for a 6. So could get another 2 Hamlets if you if you want to be sure. You are going for the Grave Robber. That's interesting too. So the Grave Robber lets you improve your own cards. So you either gain something in the trash 3 to 6, or trash a card from your hand and gain a card 3 more. So I don't know whether Julu's still got the chapel, but it might be something like you upgrade your chapel into a Haunted Woods or some kind of thing like that, or a cargo ship into a captain or something. Remake into a captain maybe once you've tidied, because Julu's deck's pretty tidy. All right, and Snoozle is, let's see, is maybe going all out for the victory points. Still trashing, yeah, why not? Because you're not going to be buying much this turn. Get another Hamlet. That's what I would do, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can't really have too many Hamlets because you can always use it just to get a card in action. You don't have to do any of this discarding stuff, but it is quite nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, both players are getting a lot of, managing to keep a lot of action, so that's nice. Trashing what? Cargo ship into another remake. That's, oh, all right. What's Julu's doing something clever with a whole lot of remakes. I'm not actually sure, because Julu has a Grave Robber and now 3 remakes. So there must be a big plan behind that, I would think. Yeah, because now look at this hand that Julu has next. Is cargo ship 3 remakes and a Grave Robber. I'm not actually sure what the plan is with this. You remake a remake into the Duchy of Haunted Woods. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. But Julu does have the action, so let's see. Remake. Picking the remake. Okay. Is it trashing a remake? I'm getting something. Trash a remake for Haunted Woods. Yeah. Okay. And is going to play it at the start of the next turn. Yeah, I mean, I do definitely like those Haunted Woods. I think they're quite fun because I suppose the attack isn't hugely strong in this deck. So the attack is where if they buy a card, they have to put their deck back, the cards they've got left back onto their deck. But actually, they've managed to trash down very well, so they won't have a stack of victory points they need to return to their deck. Not until they start getting provinces. Snoozle might have the province there. So I think the attack's not so strong, but it is nice to draw 3 cards at the start of your next turn. And you might still have, a remake in hand, for example, once the attack's played. Seven, not quite 8 this time. And what would you get for 7? A gold, yeah, fair enough. Okay, and so Snoozle might get rid of either, I suppose, remake the chapel into something bigger, What's in this? So these grave robbers, what has anything been trashed using grave robber? Just the remake. Ah, so if you play the grave robber now, you gain the remake. Which I'm not sure if that's what you particularly want, to be honest. Anyway, that's how it works. Okay, and so Julu is mainly playing the remakes with the Way of the Pig at the moment. Yeah, I would personally, I don't know if I'm right, but I'd personally still be tempted with Haunted Woods and Captain to just get, or Haunted Woods to get through the deck. And so, how good is Captain actually? When I say I would get Captain, but there is this kind of tax on it, because you can only play what you do is you play a card up to 4 now and at the start of your next turn. So it might just be you end up with a fishing village, cargo ship, or smugglers. But smugglers is usually pretty good because your opponent's usually buying interesting cards as well. So, for example, I think Snoozle last time bought a gold. Yeah, gains a gold. So you could collect things like golds with that. Okay, so Snoozle has been haunted. And actually this could be quite a, yeah, so it does mean Snoozle top decks the province and puts, it comes back next time. That did not stop Snoozle from managing to be able to buy a province though. So Snoozle's 2 provinces ahead. Julu has probably a better deck for drawing, and there's been a bit of a theme for this match, but what we've been finding in all of the games is that that going for the early victory points has been working in this match. So, and actually both players now have some Haunted Woods. Yeah, and I'm still interested by this grave robber remake strategy. I'm not sure. So the remake's been trashed again, and so what did Julu gain? Gaining another grave robber. I'm still not sure I'm fully understanding the strategy. They've got a captain. I'm sure there's more to it than I've actually worked out. Captain cannot play a duration card, says Gort. Oh, well, that really does. Yeah, okay. Well, that's a very good point. I'm saying that you could play this fishing village and the cargo ship, but actually that's not true. The captain is playing a non-duration, non-command action card. So in that case, I can see why people have been delaying getting those captains, because you're actually limited to remake smugglers, native village, hamlet and chapel, which aren't bad, but yes, but it doesn't include those 2. So Gort, can you work out what Julu's going for with the grave robber remake strategy? Right, Trash's remake. And let's see. Gaining a grave robber. Trash's remake gains a Haunted Woods. Plays a grave robber, gains the remake back again. Maybe it is just a way of getting a lot of draw in the deck. Yeah, and we'll just see if it's quick enough, because Snoozle's doing the more direct, kind of getting the victory points in. And I mean, Julu now does have a lot of draw in that deck. Snoozle too, actually, with a couple of Haunted Woods there. And Snoozle's again haunted, but actually I think this time it won't. You got the province now, but you can discard the province, so you might as well discard for a buy you know, whether or not you need one or an action. Yeah. Okay, and that's another province. So that's 3 provinces up, which you'd have to say is quite some lead. Now there are buys in this deck, so so that kind of helps when you're trying to catch up with someone. Then being able to get buys does help. Yeah. At the moment, Julu's been discarding to make sure there are enough actions. And actually, Julu's haunted as well this time. So let's see, what is Julu doing with these grave robbers? Using them as pigs. Okay, so not too much this time. And I guess the plan is just to use as many haunted woods. So got 8, and then using these haunted woods or to get lots of cards next time. So Julu's got 1 province now, and we'll have you know, an extra 9 cards from the haunted woods, plus 4 actions from the fishing village, plus what's that? Well, the cargo ship's just got a province, that'll just stay in the hand. Julu's just put it there to not have it go back in his hand from the haunting. Right, now Snoozle's starting with a lot of cards in hand from the haunted woods, 3 actions as well from the fishing village, managing to discard the provinces using the hamlet. You've still got your chapel there, Snoozle. You might trash it with your remake, potentially. Yep, that's what he's done. To get a silver, maybe trash the grave robber. Yeah, I would do the same and get a captain. Okay, yeah, and so with this captain, you can't. I was wrong about saying you can do those. You can't do that. But what you can do, sorry, with the smugglers gained another haunted woods. So these are actually now really, really popular. And then the captain you might use, you know, you could use it for Hamlet, for example, if you wanted to get a, you just get a card and an action. You could use the smugglers and get another haunted woods. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, I'll get the action, use the captain. Yeah, and that's enough to get another province. So that's still a 3 province lead, and there's only 3 provinces left. So Julu's gonna need to get some buys here. I don't know how much money Julu's deck is producing actually. Gort says, right, I wouldn't try and use the strategy. So I said to Gort, what is the strategy? What strategy's been played for with remake and grave robber? Because I can't think about it. And Gort thinks he wouldn't try and use that strategy. Guess eventually using remake to get duchies could be Way of the Pig and trying to weaken smugglers. Maybe. That's a lot of cards you're putting into to try and weaken smugglers. Trash and gain duchy. Yes, okay, so that's what Gort says. Yes, trash the remake and gain the duchy. Oh, so weaken smugglers. Well, let me think again about what you're saying about weakening smugglers. So gaining the haunted woods to make sure of a very good turn next time. So I suppose the idea is to catch up by getting duchies as well as the province each turn, now that the deck is drawing so well. And to have a lot of grey robbers to trash the remix, and you can get the remix again out of the trash. So there's now 4 there. Let's see. So Snoozle has 2 captains, I think, to play. Right. He's playing the Hamlet. And getting a lot of buys. So can Snoozle get enough points to get a province or a duchy this turn? At the moment there's 4 in hand and a Hamlet. Yeah, playing the smugglers to get the duchy. Yeah. And discarding the province all the time. So that to negate the Haunted Woods attack. So 4, what are you going to get with a 4? Cargo ship, okay. So Julu is 25 points behind. No, 15. I can't remember. Maths, 15 points behind. Okay, so 15 points behind. So if you're gaining, say you're getting, so duchy, 2 duchies and a province gets you 12 in 1 turn, if you can do that. Oh, gosh. Trashing the Haunted Woods. I didn't even think of that. Trashing the Haunted Woods. Very nice, actually. Very nice play. So trashing the Haunted Woods to get the provinces and doing that all in one go. Yeah, I actually didn't see, as I said, I didn't quite see that all coming. So that pulls 1 back. So 3-1 now to Snoozle. Okay, so game number 5, and we have Sinister Plot. Sinister Plot's nice because you can make sure you. Oh my goodness, we've got some strong cards in this deck. So Sinister Plot you can guarantee you get a 5 on turn. Oh no, I can't remember now. 3 or 4 using Sinister Plot if you do buy silvers. We've got some very strong cards. So I need to point out to you already Margrave and Rebuild. Margrave is a very annoying attack card that gives a buy. So you get +3 cards, you get a buy, and everyone can discard. And the Rebuild is the one where you improve your victory cards. So you trash your estate and get a duchy, or your duchy and get a province. So there's no point in really trashing your estates in this hand, except via Rebuild. And that's probably just as well because there isn't. Oh no, there is trashing in Dismantle, but I'm not surprised they're not really going for that straight away. So how are we for actions? Do we need to use this university? I can only see the top half of the cards right this second, so I'll just have a. They've both gone for Sinister Plot, which I think is a good idea. You can get actions via encampment, but it's hard at the start of the game because you're going to have to be revealing these golds or plunders in order to keep them. So I think I would be inclined to go for university because there are these strong 5s, and because it does give you the action. So you might, like if you've got your university, and then you could gain Margraves and you can play Margraves. Journeyman actually is also good for draw, although I would personally prefer the Margrave. Yeah, and then actually even this one I think is good for draw if I can see what it is. It's Slay, isn't it? Because that gains you horses, which then let you draw through your deck faster. Yeah, so I would also go for university and Margrave and Rebuild. Maybe you do wait a little bit for Rebuild, I think. I think the Margrave's more urgent. But with Margrave, you get a buy, right? So say you had your rebuild all in place and you were trashing up these estates into duchies and whatever. Then you can always buy an extra estate and replace it with your Margrave. Yeah. So I would get the university, Margraves. But these are nice too. Emporiums, and nobody's managed to get to gold yet. If you can get to gold, then you want to get the encampments as well. And the plunders under there are nice too, because they get you a victory point each time you play them. So, yeah, I think I would be inclined to get rebuild already, though. Assuming they've got enough money. Because it is really strong. Two encampments is nice as well, if you've got a gold. Yeah, so Snoozle's got a university now. Yeah, university. So that's nice because you've got the actions to then play your Margrave and your journeyman, so you can get a stack of cards. Okay, and so Julie's managed to get another university in hand. Okay, can play an encampment, and is also trashing the estates. Yeah, well, personally, I would get the rebuild and do the estate, build the estates up that way. But you are gaining a gold, and then that gold is used for your encampment, so that's probably why you're doing it that way. Yeah. Margrave is very powerful just because of the discarding attack. Okay, so encampment, university, what would you gain? I would gain the rebuild. No, dismantle. And 2 encampments. Well, 2 encampments is always nice. Yeah, Susan must have quite a lot of encampments now. Yeah, so it's nice to gain. Yeah, you'd want to gain emporiums and plunders. Do it. No one's very keen on my plan with the rebuilds, it seems. Just one estate being trashed. And the potion being trashed, that's kind of fair enough, because there's a limit. Universities are nice, but there's a limit to how many you want. And it's nice to get the golds. And Julu gets a slave for draw. And so people haven't been going for the getting the all out for the victory points this particular game. Yeah. Those Margraves are annoying, aren't they? Has to be said. And Snoozle does still have a university. Dismantle, so I guess Snoozle might also choose to trash the potion. Let's see. Rebuild, that's what I would get. Right. Emporium, well, they're nice too. Don't disagree with that. Although, why don't you play your dismantle? No, you can't. You can't arrange the actions. Yeah. Fair enough. Encampments. I think that encampment gets returned. There wasn't a golden hand at the time. University. I'm not going to tell you what I would buy. No, well, all right, Emporium. Emporium gets 2 victory points. That is very good. Yeah, and the other Emporium. Okay, so we're 1 pile down. And I'm sure the plunders will go pretty quick. I would buy a plunder here as well. 3, 4, 5, 7. Copper and gold. Trashing is, yeah, okay. Trashing the estate for copper and gold, fair enough. And then let's go 5, 7 plunder, yeah. And the sleigh, maybe not. And the encampment goes back. So you don't get the first chance to buy that encampment. It goes back to the pile after your turn. All right. So Journeyman will allow getting cards. No more actions left though for Snoozle. Someone's going to tell me I'm wrong about this rebuild. That would still be the first thing I'd buy. Rebuild. And improve all my victory cards. I'm going to show you it once, then I'm going to shut up about it. Okay, plus an action. Name a card. Reveal cards from your deck until you reveal a victory card you didn't name. So the safe way to do it is just name province each time. Discard the rest and trash the victory card and gain 1/3 more than that. But yeah, I mean, obviously you can't argue with the strategy about buying encampments and plunders as well, because that's really good for getting through your deck. And actually nobody's bought any victory cards at all yet. And actually Julu's points have come from getting these emporiums. But the other thing you have to always think about is with the sinister plot. You don't, as a spectator, you don't kind of quite see, but each turn they're deciding whether to add a counter onto sinister plot or whether to draw those extra cards. And so normally, I don't know, you might go up to 2 or 3 like they've got there, and then think about drawing those cards depending on what hand you've got. If you've got like actions in your hand and not too much draw, you definitely might take some extra cards from sinister plot. Okay, so that's lots of good values in hand for Julu. There's not a buy, is there? Oh, Margrave would... Oh, sorry, yes, just played the Margrave, and that gives the buy. 17. So I think Julu just counted up. I've got 16 points in hand, so there's no point going through the rest. And yeah. Okay, interesting. A plunder and a province. Yeah, that's always nice to have those plunders because you get a victory point every time you play it. So this one is, I would say this one's looking, I would say it's looking pretty good for Julu right now. But both decks are very strong. I'd still go, and I said I'd shut up about that. All right, I won't mention it anymore. Yeah, the encampment's very good, and Snoozle has another encampment in hand and also has the gold to reveal, so can draw through the deck. University, you might even think about getting. They're actually both going quite heavily into the journeymans. Yeah, he's got the rebuild. Fantastic. That's the one I've been waiting for a while. Yeah, I would be tempted by that, and also maybe the Margraves as well, just because they're getting a lot of coins each time, and so they might want to buy more than one thing, especially as there's lots of nice things to buy, like these plunders. We might see 3 powers as well, because the journeymans are low, the plunders are going to go. Ah, 2 rebuilds. Ah, Snoozle's now going heavily into the rebuilds. That's quite funny. Yeah. I mean, actually, this is going pretty well through the deck, isn't it? And there's a sleigh for draw for next time. There's a dismantle. I mean, I would not trash my remakes. Not with dismantle, I don't think I would Snoozle is. I'd let the rebuild those out. Two buys. So you can afford a province if you want to. Get the sleigh played as well for horses. But why spend a lot of money on a province when you might as well spend it on a estate or duchy and then trade it up using your rebuild? The thing is, I mean, sometimes the duchies run out, but when you heavily using rebuild. So how many points have we got? 9, 13. Plundering province, fair enough. So I think then in terms of victory points, maybe Snoozle has a estate, duchy and province. The estate's in hand, so if you do get the rebuild, you'd end up being and I wouldn't trash my estate here. Let's see what he does. I'd just trash the copper. I'm not saying I'm right. It's just, oh well, I suppose you could always buy a duchy. Yeah. And buying plunder. So I mean, the game could end abruptly. Oh, is anyone being using borrow? I haven't really been watching for that. So if you get to 7 points, you can always use borrow to get up to a province if you want to. So just 1 plunder left, and just 3 journeymen. So if you ended up with, I say Julu managed to get to a lot of buys here. I mean, you might want to buy the plunder anyway. So how many victory points? We are talking 18 different, which is a lot. Yeah. So Julu does have a province in hand, basically, here. Might as well play the journeyman, I guess. 11. getting a province. Okay, so it's looking pretty good for Julu just on score. And a rebuild a duchy into a province. Now you do have to be a little bit careful about using your rebuild, because the next time it'll end the game if you do hit a duchy. But I don't think you've got duchies at the moment, so that should be okay. Because I think you're getting but do you have an estate? I think you trashed your estate, so maybe you can't. Yeah, I think you need to have an estate for this to work really well. Yeah. So what would you gain with the? I'd just gain a Margrave, I think, here now if I played my university. But it might just be late, because too late now, because oh, journeyman. Oh, have you seen a win? Or that's a little bit risky because the piles are very low. I don't see a win, I don't think. 21 to 34, you need to get 13. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well done, Julie. Now I have to admit I've lost track of the score a bit. I think it's 3-2 to Snoozle, but does anyone else remember? On to final game, says Snoozle. So I think it is 3-2 to Snoozle. Okay. So if that's right, Julie's saying be right back. I might just get a quick glass of water as well to help me commentate. So 1 second. Okay. So, good. That's good. They've got the cards up, so we can have a little think about what we would do. So we have actions in Bazaar. We have trashing with Ratcatcher. We have the flag, which is always fun. We did a session on the flag yesterday, I think. Sunday night was the flag we looked at on my stream. So, yeah. Right, well, this Salt of the Earth is trashing a victory card. So you have to remember that one. So if the provinces are getting low, you can always Salt the Earth and get a... just trash the last province. Conclave is helpful to play an extra action. So what would you start with? Ratcatcher. I'd definitely start with Ratcatcher. So if I had a 3-4, Ratcatcher and... No, we always laugh with Philosopher's Stone because that was coming out as the worst card in Dominion. I think Duchess is pretty poor as well. Talisman. Now, what about Talisman? Talisman, gain a copy of victory cards, of cards less than 4, which isn't completely helpful because you might be buying the flag, for example, when you normally just want them one at a time. Ratcatcher, yeah. So I might get Conclave, although I have seen people laugh at Conclave. So I don't know. Flag bearer, okay, fair enough. So what would you do? I'd buy the flag bearer right back again, I think. Yeah, because you can always trash it with your Ratcatcher when you get to that stage. So I think this is actually a crucial game in score. So I'm just going to try and lock that up while I'm playing. If Julu wins 2 games or less, he will demote to G. So I think the winner of this game. Oh, if Julu's got 2, if he needs, so if Julu draws, then Julu's safe. And Snoozle needs to win. So it's actually a very exciting final game of the final match of F11 for season, what are we, season 45? Something like that. Season 44 even. Season 44, final game. And Julie needs a draw and Snoozle needs a win. Right. So Julie has the flag at the moment. So Snoozle's got the flag back. So you might see, I was going to say you might see a rat catcher appear. We did, but trashing an estate. Oh. Wait a minute. Who's a flag bearer? Oh, that's right. Okay, flag bearer for the points. Yeah, because I was just sort of thinking about that flag bearer recently and how it is always, when your opponent's got the flag, you'd always desperately want to get it back. But I think that can be overrated as well. I mean, other things are important too. So, conclave. I would take a bazaar at some point for the actions, I think. And seers are nice. But how do you get a lot of cards? Is that the conclave gives you, doesn't give you cards, it gives you coins and then you can play another card. So in answer to how do you get more, how do you draw more cards, that could just be that you can't. Seer, wait a minute, what's seer? I know, seer you can. You get a card in action, but you also get the ones, the cards costing 2 to 4 into your hand. So maybe that's the way, especially as they're both buying quite a few 4s, so the conclaves and the flag bearers, for example. Any silvers as well. Yeah. So 5, I would get, I don't know, Bazaar or Seer, they're both nice. Rat catcher, are you going to trash the flag? Trashing an estate. So 4 estates gone, which is all of Julu's estates and one of Snoozle's. So I would think Julu would maybe try and get the flag back. Playing the flag. And okay, trashing coppers makes sense. And have we got our, oh, not quite 8 to go for the early province strategy. So maybe a seer is a good thing. 2 buys you've got actually. So what is the scouting? You might want a scouting party. That might tidy up your deck. You can tidy up your deck for next time. So you have to remember to buy it first. So you could buy the scouting party and a seer if you wanted that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe you don't just do it first. Oh yeah, because you had 2 buys anyway. That's fine. Yeah. Trash the flag. Yes. Okay. So Julu's taken back the flag now by trashing with a rat catcher. 4. What would you gain now with a 4? Yeah, Oasis or silver maybe. Have to discard a card. That's the annoying thing about Oasis. Yeah, Snoozle's made it to the province, which I expect he'll take yes. And will we see another province? We might do straight away. No, going for the seer first to improve the draw. And Snoozle might buy the flag again, I wonder. Yeah. And then Julu hasn't one in hand to trash. Yeah, might. Doesn't have. I mean, it doesn't have to go for province already. Yeah, seer and conclave. So it's the same strategic battle between getting points right away with early victory cards or building the deck. And Julu is doing deck building and Snoozle is going for points as quickly as possible. And we will see which strategy is the more effective. This looks like another province, which Julu will most certainly buy. Julu is going to get a province and a scouting party. Province and silver. I almost said province and silver. I almost said that. Julu will. I think Julu will need to start worrying about points pretty soon because 12 is catch-upable, 18 starts getting tricky. Okay, yeah, and so Julu now takes a province back. And Snoozle can only get actually 7 this time. So what we will see is a seer and I think a scouting party. And remember, we've always got salt the earth, so the game could end more suddenly than one thinks. I salt the earth already. I wouldn't go that early. I don't know. You might be right, but I wouldn't go that early with it. But you do have 2, 4, 6, 7. You're pretty much going to get 8 next time, so you could be right with that. Yeah. So I'd expect you to have enough for a province this time. Maybe not. No, 7. So you might even. Would you start thinking about getting duchies? You could think about duchies. Getting the flag back's got to be sensible too. Yeah. Oh, this is a very exciting final match. Actually, I don't know who's going to win. This is looking good for Snoozle to get a province though, and you've got another buy as well. So like you can province and salt the earth if you want to, which might actually be a good idea. Or province and duchy. You can province scouting party and salt the earth, can't you? If you want to check your next turn too. Interesting. So what have you got? You've got a province, and what are you going to do? Duchy, salt the earth. Yeah. Okay, an aggressive strategy there by Snoozle, going all out for these victory points early, in keeping with the style of the entire match. And Julu's coming back with 6 already, and I can see at least another 2, 4, 7 in hand, although only the one buy, which is actually going to be a problem for Julu, because what do you do? If you buy a province, you're going to lose, because all Snoozle needs to do is salt the earth. So you're going to have to buy a duchy, and that, yeah, it's still very tricky. So it's looking good for Snoozle, I would say. Right, so you did just salt the earth. You are then 11 points ahead. And so Julu would need 13, which would be a province and duchy, but that is not impossible. Yeah. Well, it's certainly a direct strategy, and it could be successful, but will it? I can see that Julu already has a buy in hand. I wouldn't trash a copper actually this turn. It's desperate to get 13, so you may as well keep everything you've got right now. But let's see. Oh, one guy. This is really close. Oh, you got 2 actually. I think he's done it. I think you've done it. So wait a minute. But is my maths right though? My maths is probably not right. Because 9 is not enough, actually, sorry. So apologies to crowd. You will have to take 2 duchies, but that is not going to be enough. So it looks like Snoozle only needs to salt the earth, which can be done. And Snoozle's got enough for a province. So that is 4-2, I make it to Snoozle, which I think puts Snoozle safe. I'll just read the note in the Snoozle can report. Should I just say GG? I'll say. Okay. And Snoozle, so if Julu wins 2 or less, he'll demote. So it looks like Snoozle in the last game of the last match has just managed to stay in Division F, and Julu is just about relegated. Now, I was relegated last season, but I didn't actually get relegated, I think, because someone must have dropped out. So I don't think it necessarily happens. But anyway, brilliant, great match, both of you, and a very fast match, actually, an hour and a half. Thank you, everybody, for watching.